want America to get the hell out of the way and leave our leaders alone and let them live. So by killing our leaders, before our leaders could really do the job that God called them to do, we became a people void, never developed. We got hands, but they don't work for us. They're not coordinated. You got white head on black body, so your hands build for your enemy and you fight for your enemy, but you don't know how to defend and build for yourself. What happened to your head? When somebody gets hit in the head and they get paralysis, their hands don't work for them. Their feet don't work for them. You call the brother handicapped. Well, that's us, brother. We're handicapped. Our hands don't build no factories. We build no schools. We build no hospitals. We don't enter into international trade and commerce like a living people, because every time you get the right kind of leader, they kill him or they talk about him like a dog and make us kill him. And that's why the press calls me anti-Semite, hater, bigot, because they know that you are taught to love. You are taught that God is love. And if I'm a hater, then I have to be either the devil or of the devil. Come on. So when they drop that word out on you about me, you say, I'm not going near that man. He's a hater. He's a hater.
All right, welcome back again to the African Streamline. I am Atambaheti as usual. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for always being here. Yeah. Sometimes we might have good leaders. Sometimes we might have leaders who are ready to serve the people, or who have the interests of people at heart. Yeah, those leaders who want to serve the people. But the problem we are having, and the biggest problem that is here right now, and the problem that we really need to address, is the fact that the Europeans, the imperialists, the colonizers have decided it's not going to be easy, and they're not going to let our leaders alone. Yeah. They've kept on interfering with the matters of our countries and the matters of our nations. Yeah. And you get to a point when you find out that leaders are no longer working, and they're no longer serving the people. They're serving the outside powers. So when they get to a point where the leaders would listen to them and begin following them because they're promising them some little things here and there, because they are greedy and because they are corrupt, they would tend to listen to them. They would tend to follow them and do what they're asking them to do. Yeah. And the voice that will always come out is that we are asking America, we are asking Europe, we are asking the imperialists to leave our leaders alone. They should get their hands off our leaders and let them do the work that we chose them to come and do. This is Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan is speaking to a global world. Yeah, he's speaking to everybody out here. He's addressing the Europeans. He's addressing the America and white people who do not want to let Africa lead itself, protect itself, defend itself, and all that. They want to always interfere. They want to always come in and be seen as the kings, be seen as the gods, in that whenever we want to do something, we must ask for direction from them. We must ask them to tell us what we need to do. We must ask them to give us directions and all that. Yeah. And the people who suffer the most are not the leaders, because at the end of the day, we have African puppets who would choose to work with the foreign powers or to work with the imperialists by themselves, to work with these so-called masters by themselves. They do not care about the lives of individuals. They do not care about the lives of people. They want to work with them because they're getting some credits. Yeah, they're getting some coins here and there that is sustaining them, and they feel like because these coins we're getting is too sweet, we can no longer serve our people. It doesn't matter how many times people cry. It doesn't matter how many times people would go on the street and begin fighting and all that. They don't care. They only care about themselves. They do not care about the interests of people at heart. And therefore, we are sending message asking America, asking Europe, all the imperialists, talk about France and every other country that is trying to want to continue exploiting Africa to get their hands off our leaders. Yeah. And I've come to realize that we have leaders in Africa many a times, and a bigger number of leaders we're having in Africa are those leaders who cannot actually make their own decisions. Yeah. Immediately they've been shown some cards, some credits, and they've been given some coins. They will tend to follow everything they're being told to do. Yeah, and that is why I've seen the Kenyan president having some meetings with foreigners, yeah, with the Europeans many a times, and signing some nonsensical, sensible deals here and there. And you're like, what are these deals for? Are these deals coming to help a common citizen? Are these deals coming to help a country? Are these deals he's signing coming to employ the youths who are unemployed and all that? Are these deals coming to improve the level of infrastructure and development in our countries? If it's not coming to improve a single one of them, then these deals are useless. The Europeans and imperialists, they would only want to use you for their benefit. But it will never come a time when these people will come with a genuine heart of helping an African person or a black person, because they always want to be seen as the saviors and as the gods. But they are not the gods in real sense. They're not the saviors in real sense. In fact, black people are the white people saviors, because they depend on us for them to live the kind of life they are living. But because our leaders, who are puppets, have been brainwashed not to see that they are more wealthier than the white people, or than Europe governments, they think that Europe governments is better than them. They want something that is already made. Like if it's money, they want money that is already made. Yeah, they just want to be given money. They don't want to make use of the resources, make use of the wealth they're having in their country to turn it into money. They want to allow the imperialists to come into the country, exploit, go with the resources, turn it into money, then come and bribe them with a little money here and there, and tell them, you know what, we want you to do this to us, we want you to do this to us, we want you to do this to us. It is manipulation, but you may not know it's manipulation until you have a broad mind or an open mind. Is when you will understand this is nothing but manipulation. Yeah, it's like someone comes to your home, takes your inheritance, or your uncle comes to your home, takes your inheritance, and then he begins giving you your inheritance little by little. Yeah, and you think this uncle is too good, is helping me and all that. You do not understand, or you have forgotten whatever the credits you're being given, you're being chipped. It is what belongs to you. But because you don't have that mind of understanding it is mine, you begin getting happy and feeling like, I'm being treated like a boss, so I'm going to do everything that I'm being asked to do and all that. And that is why Louis Farrakhan is talking and addressing these people. For quite some time, we've been addressing African leaders and African politicians. But it's high time also we should have addressed the foreign nations and tell them, hands off our leaders. The issues and the stories of manipulating our leaders and trying to make them do whatever the things you want them to do, it is something that really drains the African citizens and the African people. It is dragging the continent of Africa back. And that is why you see youths going on the road. Simply because you've made the leaders to actually see the people they are leading as useless people. They no longer recognize them. They no longer see them as important people. So youths get to a point when they want to prove a point. Yeah? You are treating us bad. We are demanding accountability. We want a government that listens to the people, that a government that is transparent, a government that uses the public wealth and the public resources in a good way. Yeah, but because these leaders have been, they have been, let me say, manipulated into be doing some things that are not good by the Western powers and the Western governments. So the people in their country end up demonstrating, and because they are being forced also not to accept and listen to them, they get to a point of killing the youths and destroying them. And that is what is happening in African countries today. Not only in Kenya, it is happening in Nigeria, it is happening in Uganda, it is happening in Tanzania. You cannot speak, you can't question the government, you can't question, you can't tell them, you can't demand accountability, you can't demand transparency. Why? Because our leaders have been manipulated. They have been brainwashed. They have been taken, yeah? And they are being paid. They are being given some things to forget the people they are leading. So Louis Farrakhan is trying to tell people, to tell America, to tell Europe, to tell Western powers and all the imperialists and all the colonizers to get their hands off our leaders. Let our leaders work things out the way they're supposed to work things out. Give them time. Why do you get to a point when you no longer care about the lives of other people? Because we know by them staying in Africa, by them living in Africa, it gives them mileage. It helps them. It really makes them the people they are today. But they do not want to accept the fact that Africa is better than them. They want always to be seen as better than Africa. It is during colonization that Western governments, Western countries began looking the way they are looking like. They discovered a lot of things. They came to realize there are a lot of things that are in Africa right now that are very important. The people of Africa and the black people were not greedy. We have learned greediness from the white people. We've learned about corruption from the white people. We have learned about police brutality from the white people. Because even the policemen we are using today and the law enforcement that we're using today, we inherited from the colonizers. There have not been good and better reforms of our police service. And that is why a police would wake up one morning and kill a protester and he doesn't fear anything. A police will wake up and kill someone who is trying to demonstrate, someone who's trying to exercise his constitutional right, and nobody will do anything, nobody will say anything. It is because a lot of things we are having, we inherited from the white community. It is not our culture. Black people never used to be greedy. They never used to be corrupt. They did not know about corruption. They did not know about police brutality. They did not know about theft and all that. And that is why before the colonization, before the coming of the Europeans and the coming of the missionaries in Africa, Africa was a peaceful land where we had all these minerals. We had gold, we had diamonds, we had silver, we had like every kind. We had the iron, we had the cobalt, we had diatomite, we had salt. But we had all these things, but we did not even pay attention to them. And that is why even today it is very difficult for you to find an African leader or African people paying attention to the wealth we are having today. Because it was the nature of a black person not to pay attention to all these things. And we used to live peacefully. We used to live in unity. We used to live in one accord. We used to listen to each other. We loved each other. Our parents, our ancestors taught us to love each other. And that is why if you want to find a community that can love you despite and regardless of anything, is a black person. Black people can love white people, but it is very difficult for white people to love black people. Where did racism begin from? Racism began from white people. Where did segregation begin from? Segregation began from white people. They were the pioneers of segregation. They were the pioneers of oppression. They were the pioneers of discrimination. They were the pioneers of racism. And therefore, black people have learned a lot of habits from white people. There are some other white cultures that were not in Africa. Like, for example, the LGBTQ, the lesbianism and gayism and all that. It wasn't an African culture. It began from the western part. Western countries, it is where all these things began from. You would not talk about LGBTQ, I'm talking about lesbianism and gayism in African culture, in black culture, because it was like an abomination. And that is why even today, many presidents in Africa, even those who are bad, said no to lesbianism in their countries, said no to gayism in their countries. It is only President William Ruto who accepted it. He was the first president to accept something like that in this country. And it's because he was manipulated into doing that, being promised some money and some credits and all that. And therefore, he would rather pass laws that do not favor the people of Africa than letting money go. So Africa had their cultures, and some other cultures we have borrowed from the Western countries. President Ibrahim Traore once upon a time said that we need to get to do away with the Western culture, with the European culture that was brought to Africa. The lawyers and the judges putting wigs on their head wasn't an African culture. It is a culture that was brought to us. The police service, how they are operating and how they are doing things, it was not an African culture. They are marching and doing what? Everything they are doing wasn't an African culture. It was a white culture. It was a culture that was like they influenced us to start doing things that they were doing. How comes in West Africa, people began speaking French and French became the language in the West Africa? It is because when the countries like France came to West Africa, they taught them French. They wanted them to begin speaking French because they took West Africa as part of their property. How did countries like Kenya, Uganda, speaking English? Where did English come from? English was not an African or a black language. Black people had their own languages. And therefore, they brought their languages to Africa and made African people and black people begin doing things, begin operating under their cultures and under their way of life. And so, white people and Western governments understood about Africa. They understood about Africa before even Africans themselves got to understand how they are operating, how their lands look like and all that. And therefore, they took advantage. They came to Africa in the name of coming to spread the gospel during the time of missionaries and all that. And the result that came out of missionarism in Africa, it was colonization. Black people were colonized, they were beaten up, they went through pain and all that. And after going through all that, now Europe decided we must be kings, we must be gods. Black people fought for the independence. They were lied to that they had been given independence. Black countries, African countries, there is no independence in Africa. It is a smoke screen of lies. But independence was not yet given. They lied to us that they had gone to their countries, but they had left their systems operating in Africa. And those systems are still operating in Africa. Even today, we are operating under their systems. In our governments, they've placed their systems. And that is why Louis Farrakhan says, leave our leaders alone. Because the Western countries, the imperialism, the white man's supremacy, they have not yet left Africa. They left Africa by the word of mouth. But Africa is not yet independent. Because if Africa is independent, why is it that when we want to do something, when we want to make a decision, we must seek inauguration, or we must seek permission from the Western governments? Why is it that when a black person, when a black leader wants to do something, he cannot do it by himself unless it has been ordained by a white person or by a white government? Why? That means independence is not yet in Africa. The only countries that are independent right now, the only countries in Africa that are free right now, they have freedom, they are independent, are only 3 countries. Number 1, Burkina Faso, under the leadership of Capt.Ibrahim Traore. Number 2, Mali, under the leadership of Assimi Goita. And number 3, Niger, under the leadership of Abdurrahmani Chiani. Because they decided we are no longer going to have foreign countries in our country. This is our country. We have authority over our country. We have authority, like we know what we want in our countries. We are the people to make decisions in our countries, and therefore we no longer need them in our countries. And what did they do? They expelled them from their countries. And in Burkina Faso, France was asked away. In Niger and in Mali, France was asked away. They told them, no, you've been here for quite some time. You came in the name of coming to help our people. Yeah, you say that terrorism has emerged in our countries and you came to help us. Since the year 2013, France has been to Burkina Faso. Up to date, the things they've been fighting in that country is still going on even today. Are they really fighting what they came to fight for? Or they are just there because they want to continue exploiting the country of Burkina Faso? And these 3 countries say, we no longer need you. If they came to help, why is it that when they were being asked out of that countries, they got upset, they felt bad, they felt distracted, and they felt like they want to fight back? Why? It is because they did not come in Burkina Faso to help Burkina Faso. They came in Burkina Faso. They went to Burkina Faso to harvest what was in Burkina Faso. They went to Burkina Faso to reap what was in Burkina Faso, what they did not planted. Because they know all the riches of the world is coming from Africa. Africa is blessed. And that is why Louis Farrakhan says, leave our leaders alone. Let our leaders work. They do the work that they were sent to do. You know what these people do? They come to Africa, they try to manipulate our leaders into working for them. If these leaders do not want to work for them, and if these leaders show out to them that we cannot work with you, they go ahead and assassinate them. They take them away. That's why Thomas Sankara was taken away. That is why Patrice Lumumba was taken away. It was not that Patrice Lumumba was a bad person. It is only because Patrice Lumumba did not agree with the sentiments, with the rules, and with the decisions that the Western governments were making in the country of Congo. And since the elimination of Patrice Lumumba, look at what is happening in Congo even today. People fight every other time. Day in, day out, they are fighting. Wars has never come to an end in Congo. Why are wars going on in Congo? They are going on in Congo because in the country of Congo, people or foreign powers, they want to continue exploiting in minerals, exploiting resources, and taking wealth that belongs to the Congolese people. And therefore, they cause war. They want black people to fight against black people. They want black people to fight against themselves, to fight amongst themselves. When they fight against themselves and when they fight amongst themselves, they come in the name of they're coming to help, but they're not coming to help. They come to continue exploiting. So they put themselves, when you look out, looking for help, you find them as the possible help. Because tell me, how comes America comes to Congo and tells Congo, we are going to help you end the war that is in your country, but first of all, you must grant us a half of the minerals that are in Congo. We shall be taking minerals from Congo and help you. If it's a genuine help, why do you need minerals in return? Why are you not asking for money? You are asking for minerals. Because you know minerals are more valuable than money. Because minerals are what are turned into money. And that is why Muammar Gaddafi was taken away. Muammar Gaddafi was not a bad person. Muammar Gaddafi was not a terrorist. But how did they call him? They called him a terrorist and they eliminated him. They made the people of Libya to believe that Muammar Gaddafi was a terrorist. People of Libya could not believe that Muammar Gaddafi was a good person because they were made to believe Gaddafi was a terrorist and they took Gaddafi away. Why did they fought Gaddafi? They fought Gaddafi because Gaddafi never wanted, or Gaddafi did not align himself with what they wanted him to do. Gaddafi was totally against them, and that is what made them so angry to an extent of taking Gaddafi away. And they said, we want to help Libya, that the people of Libya are complaining so much about Muammar Gaddafi. Therefore, we want to help Libya. Muammar Gaddafi was taken down many years ago. Since the day Gaddafi was taken out, up to date, Libya has never changed. Instead, Libya is not even closer to where it was when Gaddafi was alive. And that has always been the tricks. Sankara was killed simply because Sankara was fighting for the people of Burkina Faso. All the greatest leaders we had, they are no longer available. Kwame Nkrumah is nowhere to be seen. Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere is nowhere to be seen. We recently had John Pombe Magufuli from Tanzania. He was standing by his principles and saying no to imperialism, but John Magufuli was taken away. We are made to think it's diseases. We are made to think it's accident. We are made to think many things. Sometimes we are even made to think it's suicide. But at the end of the day, they are the one who are fashioning every death that is happening to the African great leaders and African great politicians. And that is why Luz Farrakhan says, leave our leaders alone. Get your hands off our leaders. Stop what you're doing. Stop destroying our leaders. Stop assassinating our leaders. Because you're forcing the leaders to work for you. Leaders work for you, but the people of their country, the common citizens, ends up suffering because of the Western powers, because of the imperialism, because of colonization, because of a dependency and all that. Africa is not independent. Africa is still operating under the systems of the white supremacy. And that is why chaos are being funded. Chaos are being funded. Goons are being funded to come and begin fighting the demonstrators and all that because they want war. Whenever an African country is at war, the imperialism, the white supremacy, they feel good because they know now here we are going to continue staying there. We shall go there in claiming we're going to help them, but that is where we will start our exploitation and all that. Get your hands off African leaders. African leaders need to be independent and work for their people and help their people. That is what we are demanding, and that is what we want as black people. Let our leaders unite. Let them come together. Let them join their hands together and unite, because we need an Africa which is united. Let us be able to operate in our own way. Do your things, let me do my things. Traore said, if you want something that is in my country, come in the right way. Follow my orders, and you're going to get what is in my country in the right way. If we have to do business together, it should be a win-win situation. You give me, I give you. I benefit, you benefit. But that is not what the white supremacy want. The white supremacy wants to rule over black people, to rule over black nations. Get your hands off our leaders. We want a free country. We want a free continent. We want a place, a continent, a country where everybody is free, where there is justice, where people are not being killed anyhow, where the lives of people are not being taken out anyhow. We want a country where when something goes wrong, when people make mistake, they can be listened, like they can be taken to court and they will follow the rule of law. We want a government that follows the rule of law. Nobody is above the law. Even the president is not above the law. But what is happening in Africa today, our leaders have been covered in that even when they do wrong, they are still protected. Even when they do wrong, they are still protected. And that is one thing that we have said no to it. We want to be peaceful. We want to have justice in our countries. We want to develop our countries. We want to raise the educational sectors of our countries. We want to raise the agricultural sectors of our countries. And therefore, we are not going to fall in your trap. Leave our leaders alone. Let our leaders work things out the best way possible. Tell me what you think on the comment section. I'll do my best to make sure I read the comments and give a response where possible. This is African Streamline. I am Atamba Heti. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for always being here. Thank you for choosing this channel and making it your stopover every time and every day. You are my greatest people. I tell you that Africa is home, and anything that concerns Africa concerns me and you as black people. In Africa, hakuna matata. That is what we say every day, that there is no problem and everything is okay. If it's your first time to be here, don't forget to subscribe. For the returning subscribers, I salute you. God bless.